What is going on, everybody out there in the YouTube trucking community? Sean Cahalan, Christian Brother Trucker, coming at you again with another video. So, I got another update and some comments and some rants and a response to a viewer comment, because I got a couple of things that I'm going to say publicly about this. So let's start with the Night Swift, what are you doing update. So I just checked in with my old trainee, and he is having to go and get a rental, pull everything off the international truck that just broke down on him. He's going to take a rental car to Phoenix to go get into his brand new truck. And I told him, I said, you know, this would have been easier for them to just put you into a rental car out of Tulsa instead of, you know, gambling, putting you in a bad situation and waiting until after the truck broke down and then to put you into a rental car. Now, this is very reminiscent of what I went through, where my silver truck broke down in Phoenix and I had to take a rental car and go all the way up to Tulsa, Oklahoma to grab the red Volvo. And when I was driving that back down to Phoenix to get the rest of my stuff off the silver truck, it broke down. So, needless to say, maintenance seems to be a pretty major issue with this company. So, Jesse, brother, hang in there. You'll get through this. You'll get over there, and the good news is you're getting into a brand new truck. So, just, you know, make sure you treat that truck good and make sure that they're doing the maintenance on it that they're supposed to be doing. The whole problem with a lot of these trucks is they're not doing the maintenance that's required on the after treatment systems on these trucks. They just let them go instead of, you know, systematically maintaining the sensors, the depth sensors, the NOx sensors, and they're not maintaining the after treatment systems. They're just trying to put 350 to 450,000 miles on these things without doing anything to the after treatment system, hoping and praying that they don't mess up, right? Until they can get rid of the truck, get rid of the truck, get rid of the truck. They're a minimalist company. And these mega fleets, that's how they do it. They're pinching nickels and dimes, and they will do stuff to these trucks just barely enough to keep them on the road, and they won't do anything outside of their just enough to keep it rolling down the road. Well, this is what it causes when you ignore stuff for too long. He was telling me that there was 35 codes on that truck, and they were telling him to drive it to Phoenix. Oh man, I'm sorry, Jesse, I can't help but laugh, brother. Alright, so I made a video a while back about the consequences of bad training. And I was calling out Prime. And I got a response from this driver. I guess he went through the training at Prime, and he was saying that he was able to do, it was 50,000 miles, and he did it in 2 months. Well, the first thing I'm going to say is, you're not doing 4,000 miles a week, brother. It's not even possible unless everything lines up perfectly, and that's not sustainable. And normally what happens is, if you are able to do 4,000 miles in a month, the stars have to align perfectly in order for this to happen. And it's probably because of the way that the days fall and the way that you're tracking. Pull out a calculator and do the math yourself. At 625 to 650 miles a day, you can't do those kind of miles on a trainer truck. Now, I can pull out a calculator and I can show you why. I can show you how this isn't possible. And there's a possibility that, you know, that everybody that says that you can do a 4,000 mile week in 70 hours in an 8-day period, generally it's coming from people that don't don't understand that when you look at a lot of these Qualcomm systems, what they do is they will show you your 8-day recap. And what it does is it totals up and tallies up the miles that you've done in the 8-day recap. Now keep in mind, people, this is not 7 days. It's 8. So if that recap shows 4,000 miles, that's not 7 days. That's not a week. That's an 8-day recap. So, you know, all you have to do is pull out a calculator, or you can even do it in your head. You can't drive 4,000 miles a week consistently without stopping and taking a break or doing a reset, and it's just not something that you can maintain. Okay. Furthermore, you can't do 50,000 miles in 2 months unless you're doing full team consistently, running back to back non-stop. You're talking 25,000 miles in a month on a training truck. Bro, I don't know what kind of math you're doing, but you ain't doing that in 2 months. Now, I think what he's doing is he's probably compressing it down or over exaggerating what it is that he did. So it was probably more like 2.5 months. And so I did a little bit of back and forth with this guy talking about this, you know, because I'm like, dude, pull out a calculator and do the math. You can't do that many miles. And so he said, well, you know, you're talking for foolishness. You don't know what you're talking about. And you don't know, I went through the training program and I did this and this and this and I did A, B, and C. I had a great experience. Okay, first of all, bro, I'm not talking about your good experience. I'm talking about the bad experiences. I'm talking about the bad trainers. I'm talking about the expanded view of somebody that's been driving for 8 years, has been training for 2 years, has worked and trained for 3 different companies total in that 8 years. Somebody who went through a training program with CR England that was doing the leasing and the training put together. So I'm coming from firsthand experience, okay? Second of all, I've driven for companies that do this team train BS, and I'm going to say that it's BS. It shouldn't be done. It shouldn't be allowed. And then I'm going to cover all the reasons why it shouldn't be allowed. But I'm also going to try to expand your limited perspective when you're coming at me and saying that I'm a fool and I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, seriously, back up before you wreck yourself, okay? Become a trainer. Train for different companies. And witness and experience these things firsthand before you come at somebody that has done this for a living, has been responsible for the trainees, has been responsible for the safety of the motoring public, and for somebody who has driven fatigued and seen the impact of fatigue on my trainees, and have had close call accidents, have had my trainees mess up, hit stuff, and do all kinds of weird stuff because they're fatigued, they're tired, they're wore out, and they shouldn't be. Okay, yeah, I'm going to get a little excited here because this is not a safe practice. And I have witnessed firsthand what fatigue does to people, how it makes them not respond correctly in situations, how it affects the thinking, how it affects the decision making, and what it does to a driver as a whole. Now, first off, I'm going to say if you were on a truck for 2 months, you did not do 50,000 miles in 2 months. That's not possible because you said that you weren't driving team until after the 2nd or 3rd week. So, you know, in my experiences, what I did is I trained a trainee for 3 weeks to 4 weeks. And then they got off my truck and went solo. So you're trying to tell me that it wasn't as bad, that Prime's training isn't that bad, because, oh, they don't go full team until the 2nd or 3rd week. Okay. There's 2 problems with this. And I'm going to tell you what those 2 problems are. If you're going team after 2 to 3 weeks of being trained, you are not qualified to be unsupervised behind the wheel of that truck. Period. And you're probably being trained by somebody who is not qualified to be a trainer. Why is he not qualified to be a trainer? Because he doesn't recognize his own irresponsible decisions to be letting you drive a truck unsupervised at night while he's in the bunk sleeping. No, it's not okay. And I really hope that the DOT comes down on this and makes this illegal, because it's not smart. Now, you know, this guy went on to say, oh, I made all this money, and I made all this money, and it was great, and it was great, and it was great. How much money does it cost? Or how much money does it take for you to be bought out and to make a bad decision, to say that something that a company is doing, an unscrupulous business practice that they're doing, becomes okay? That it's okay to put the motoring public at risk? That you have 2 to 3 years experience, or 2 to 3 months, oh goodness, see, I'm all excited. That you have 2 to 3 weeks of experience. You think that that justifies you driving a truck at night fatigued while the trainer's in the bunk sleeping? I don't think so. And yes, I have done the training teaming. With the first company that I really started training for, I would train my trainees, and we would do solo miles on the truck the first week, and on the second week we would do solo plus. And on the third week, if the trainee was up to par and I trusted his driving, we attempted to do full team on the third week. Now, what kind of problems did I run into? Well, the many problems that I ran into was I was tired and he was tired because we weren't able to get good sleep while the truck was moving. So, you know, when somebody's fatigued, they're tired, they don't learn well. And when the trainer's in the back sleeping, he's not training. You're not learning anything. You're just holding the steering wheel driving down the road. So if a driver comes over and he's brand new and he gets into a truck and the trainer's in the passenger seat where he belongs for 4 weeks, you are getting good quality training because the trainer is always awake. He's having you back up the truck. He's having you bump the docks. He's having you drive in the cities and drive on the highways. And he's giving you instruction the whole entire time, instead of leaving you unsupervised for a majority of your driving job. Which is why we have so many of these great videos on YouTube about these prime drivers that aren't learning anything, and why it's taking so long for it to get done. Why are there so many bad horror stories about bad trainers out there and bad trainees? Because Prime is not doing enough to screen out the bad trainers and to screen the trainees coming in, and to make sure that they're not doing stuff and putting people at risk. It's a bad business practice. There's 2 things you should not do in this industry. One is lease and train on the same truck, and the other one is you should not team on a training truck. A training truck is not a team truck. Teaming is where you have 2 well-qualified drivers that can both do their job completely unsupervised. They get together and they team up, and each one does their shift, their job completely, while the other dude is in the bunk sleeping. He doesn't have to be woke up. He doesn't have to be on alert because he's got a rookie behind the wheel driving a truck. Dude, half the time when I was in the bunk sleeping, I had a trainee driving, I wasn't sleeping very well at all. I kept getting woke up because I would get the questions of, hey, I think the GPS messed me up. Half the time it was because the trainee didn't know how to read the road signs and didn't know how to analyze the navigation. Unqualified, right? So the facts are the facts. And I'm not coming down on people or calling them stupid or whatever else the case may be. I'm saying the truth. And the truth of the matter is that it is unsafe, not smart, and completely dumb for these companies to be doing what they're doing. I went through it with CR England, so I know firsthand. I don't have to come to Prime to know stupid when I see stupid. So, yeah, I could go over to Prime and I can go make all this big money by being a trainer, but I'm not going to put my safety and the safety of everybody else around me at risk because I want to make more money and I want to own a truck and I want to do this and I do that. No. I'm not that greedy. And I'm not that ignorant either. So, hey, you guys over there that are doing this, first of all, know that you don't know what you don't know. You don't have enough experiences to know a bad thing when you see a bad thing. So you're not aware that what you're doing is wrong. And that's why, part of the reason why I'm making these videos is to raise the flag and say, y'all are doing some unsafe stuff. And I really hope, I really do, that DOT puts a stop to this, because it is absolutely ridiculous. And when I went through my training, dude, y'all have no idea how dangerous it was. I had no experience. I was from the Northwest, and my trainer was in the bunk sleeping and didn't teach me a damn thing. So, it's ineffective. You can't team and learn what you need to learn. So, come at me in the comments all you want. Go ahead. And, you know, you can call me a fool. You say that I don't know what I'm talking about. But unfortunately, bro, you're the one that doesn't know what you're talking about, because you haven't been a trainer and you haven't worked for different companies and you haven't experienced different training programs. I have. So I am coming at you from a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge, firsthand knowledge, and have witnessed the difference in quality of training. Period. So you don't need to spend 2 months on a truck if you're getting good quality training and you learn what you need to learn. And then when you go to your solo truck, you're running solo miles. So you get to take your time and do things right and make sure that you do everything that you're supposed to be doing and do it right. You don't learn anything from training. Team. Nothing. And then you got to transition back to solo driving after that. But, you know, that teaming's brutal, dude. I don't care. To take and put a brand new trainee through a teaming experience is just not right. Teaming is the hardest form of driving that you can do. It's not right that they're putting brand new drivers through this. All right, so rant over, but y'all, I just want to be crystal clear on why I'm making these videos and why I have such a strong stance against this is because I have lived it, I have done it, and I have witnessed firsthand what it does to a driver, what it does to a trainee when you put them on a team truck or a trainer truck and try to treat them like a team. They're not a team. They're a trainer and a trainee. It's a training truck. Period. All right, moving on. So, hopefully, you know, these companies, they're left to regulate themselves, and they create all these policies, and unfortunately, they don't follow their own policies all the time. Right? So, they're going to make you do unsafe stuff. They're going to put you in positions that you have no business being in. And I can tell you, I have quit a lot of jobs because they have asked me to do shady stuff. Or they've asked me to operate bad equipment. Or they've put me in situations that I didn't feel comfortable being in. So, quit. Move on. If you have to apply for another job and you're talking to a recruiter and they ask you, why did you quit your last company? And you say, my last company forced me to drive a broken down truck that was derating and they told me to drive it and I told them I didn't feel comfortable. Dude, you can go anywhere else you want. They're not going to look at that situation and go, I don't think we're going to hire you. Dude, if you're in the right, you're in the right. And if your management team or your company is asking you to do something shady, get out as fast as you can. So with Jesse, I happen to know that he's really young. He's only 21. So he's kind of limited to a certain amount of companies that he can go to work for, which are all these mega fleets, which are putting drivers in some pretty weird pickle situations that he shouldn't be in. So yeah, this industry really needs to take safety a lot more seriously. And I know that when I was training my trainees, safety was the first and foremost thing, and that came first over production and over money, because you ain't making a dollar if that truck goes into the ditch. You're costing the company and yourself untold amounts of money if you get into a wreck, if you hurt somebody, if you do something stupid. So, agreed? Be safe first, and then the money will come, because you're being safe, and you're going to have a long, successful career in the trucking industry because you're safe. You keep gambling with safety and putting people at risk because you're chasing the money, you're sitting on a ticking time bomb, my friend. You're either going to get tickets, you're going to get put out of service, you're going to lose your CDL, you're going to get into a wreck. Just don't be that guy. Come out here, be safe, slow down, take your time, and make a steady paycheck. That's what I do. And I tell you right now, I have no problems doing 3,500 miles a week. But I also know how to do the math. But I also know how to take an educated look at something and know when something's not right, when something's unsafe. And all I have to do is ask myself, do I want to have some irresponsible truck driver that's driving for one of these companies to be on the road with my wife and my children? And for those of you that don't have a wife and children, do you want that type of driver on the road with your mom or your dad or your grandparents or your brothers or your sisters? And I am sure that if that driver did something and messed up, then shame on him. But if it's you that did it, there's all kinds of justifications of why it's okay. You're exempt, right? No. Nobody's exempt from safety. I think it's just a way that we look at things out here. You know, if I can't... And I'll tell you, I've taken trainees back to the terminal and I refused to let them drive because they were being unsafe. Why? Because it's just a matter of time. I'm not willing to gamble with somebody who's driving... Somebody whose driving is unsafe. I'm not willing to take that chance. I don't want to be responsible for looking the other way and allowing a driver to drive who's being unsafe and gets into an accident, because then it's my fault. 100% my fault. And I, as a trainer, am in the way of you getting to where you need to go as a trainee. And if you're not willing to slow down and be safe and to have the correct attitude as a trainee, you're not staying on my truck. So, and I have had that conversation with many trainees. I'm like, you need to slow down and just drive this truck. Do not get in a hurry. Don't get upset. Don't get pissed off. Don't become emotional. You know, if we run into a delay or a problem, all we got to do is make a phone call. We do not do things that are unsafe or illegal. And your trainer shouldn't be doing the same. Your trainer shouldn't be getting you to do that either. And you shouldn't be just chasing the money and just trying to be out here to maximize your paycheck. You need to learn what you need to learn. Put safety first, and then the paychecks will come. But put safety first. Those are my messages. Those are my rants. Those are my updates. If you like this video, please like and subscribe and share. And as always, God bless you all. Thanks for watching.